And we are recording.
We're live.
We're live. Welcome to the show, the very first episode of the Uncultured Cult. I am your host, the cult leader, Dash.
And hello, this is me.
No. Let me introduce you because I'm the host. And I'm joined by my extravagantly dressed, absolutely ravishing beast of a man. My brother from, would you say 2 or 3 different mothers? Something to that effect. Jesse.
Hello, it is I coming at you on the Uncultured Cult here.
Fucking already, dude.
That's the podcast that we're on, and this is the first one, and
this is the first episode.
And I'm Jesse.
I'm sure it will suck, but I'm also sure 100 episodes from now you'll listen back, and this is, I guess, your Easter egg for those who joined in later on. Shout out to listeners of the future.
And you're gonna listen to the 100th episode, and you'll listen to this episode, and you're gonna be like, "Wow, it hasn't got better." It's impressive.
It's about the same quality. We never upgraded our equipment.
It's still bad.
I found the cheapest mics on Amazon, downloaded some free recording software, and I was like, a podcast it really can be anything, can it? I got some questions for you, brother. How would you define a cult? Because that's what we are here at the Uncultured Cult. We are, this is our cult. Our current member count is you, me, and Moo, the third unmiked host in the room. So, how would you what is your definition of a cult?
I don't have like a dictionary definition, but I would just say that it would be anything that's like a group of people that have some kind of core beliefs that they're focused on, but it usually is kind of there's a leader that's revered, maybe more so than the core belief, or at the same level of the belief.
Okay, because I googled it before you got here.
Oh, okay.
And there's a couple definitions here, but you kind of nailed it. My favorite one is a relatively small group of people having religious beliefs or practices regarded by others as strange or sinister. Would you consider yourself strange and or sinister?
Yeah, I would consider myself both of those things.
Fucking edgelord, dude.
Depending on the day. Depending on the day, I'm one or the other.
On other days, you're like, I'm quite normal and
sinister.
Not sinister. I would never. I'm normal and
I would
not
never
nefarious.
Be. You know what? People, they tell me that I'm sinister, and I'm like, no, I would never be that. I would never do sinister. I would never do it.
That's on a Tuesday, and then the following Wednesday, you'd be like, you know what? I changed my mind.
I'm gonna do some sinister.
I lied. It's a sinister coming in. Cool. Yeah, we're the Uncultured Cult. Oh, another definition here that I wanted to read. A misplaced or excessive admiration for a particular person or thing. What are we excessively obsessed with here on the Uncultured Cult, would you say?
We're obsessed with this podcast catching on and us making a lot of money from it.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. That's what I want to hear. Yeah. Man, there's another definition here it is. Scratch the last 2 definitions. The group is focused on a living leader to whom members seem to display excessively zealous, unquestioning commitment. And the group is preoccupied with bringing in new members. I would say that fits us. We're trying to bring in new members, new listeners, if you get in on this cult.
Oh, yeah. We're trying to get them. We're trying to get some cultists out here.
The group is preoccupied with making money.
Oh,
so
yeah. That's right there.
Our living leader, it can't be me, right? I'm just the host, but I'm not.
Moo.
It's Moo.
It's Moo.
It's definitely Moo. Moo, the third co-host.
We will make a some social media. Then we'll post
Our cult leader.
Cult leader Moo, so that you can revere her.
For all to revere. Great. So today we're going to be talking about several things. For this show, I have some fairly loose structure in mind. First up, I want to talk about some trailers that came out over the last 2-ish weeks. So I guess some insight on the process of the show. And feel free to course correct me at any time, Jesse, but as a person, I already know I'm going to go on so many fucking tangents all the time.
Yeah, I tend to do that too, though.
Okay.
But I'll try to.
Okay. I want to talk about trailers, but I also want to talk about kind of the creation of the show. I've been wanting to make this show for like 9 months.
It's your baby.
And I've bugged the shit out of you about it. I was like, when are you gonna get on this fucking show, dude? Let's get this thing rolling. So I don't know about you, but this has been like a kind of passion project that I've been trying to pull together by mostly just bugging the shit out of anybody who will sit down and talk to me about movies for an hour or whatever.
He has a very hard time getting people to talk to him. I can attest to that. I've seen it happen.
I'm like, please, somebody come talk to me. So yeah, this started out when you know what inspired it was the Batman movie that came out earlier this year, which is crazy to think about because that was like this year.
Oh yeah, that is.
Doesn't
crazy.
it seem like it was?
It was a long time ago.
A while ago. That was March, or I believe. It's December now. And I watched that movie and I was like, I need to talk about this on a platform. And I think I texted you like the next day or that week or something, and I was like, dude, we should make a podcast talking about movies, and we should talk about the fucking Batman. So that'll probably be an episode somewhere down the line. That won't be today, though. So just a little insight for the show. We're going to want to talk about movies. Something else I'm going to want to talk about is music, too, because movies and music are a big part of culture in general, and we here at the Uncultured Cult are at least 50% of us. No, you know what? I wasn't going to throw you under the bus, but I'm going to say 100% of us are uncultured as fuck.
Okay.
Do you have a rebuttal?
No. I don't have a rebuttal, but let's look up some definitions for uncultured.
Oh, okay.
Since that's in our title as well.
Fair idea.
And then after that, we'll look up the definitions for the.
For what? For the.
For the.
Uncultured. I could read the definition here, or I could see people also ask, what is an uncultured person?
Okay.
Someone who is uncultured is ignorant or uneducated, particularly about the arts, which I say is also kind of hits the nail on the head for what we're trying to. Are we trying to undo? We're trying to undo the uncultured, right? That's the point of the show.
I guess
we're gonna be watching movies and
we're a bunch. I think the idea is that we're just like a bunch of ignorant people, and we're gonna.
Or are we trying to spread the ignorance?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're trying to spread our ignorance because we're just coming on here with no preconceived knowledge, and we're saying things. So yeah, we're just spreading our ignorance, I think.
The second part of this answer, I suppose, is it says, if you spend all day watching soap operas and you've never read a book, seen a play, or visited a museum, you might be uncultured.
So are you out
fucking
there?
Burn on soap opera watchers. If you watch a soap opera, if you just watch a soap opera one time, according to this Google search, you are uncultured and you suck.
Okay, so should we get into these trailers?
Yes. So first of all, I wanted to talk about the Super Mario Bros. Trailer. Oh yeah, one other thing I was going to add real quick. We were going to record last week, so I know this is probably a little late-ish. It's relevant, but this trailer dropped 2 weeks ago. We were going to record last week. It got pushed back to this week, so that's where we're at. Super Mario Bros. Trailer. If you could sum it up in one word for me, what would you say?
How about 2 words?
Yeah, okay.
Mixed bag.
Mixed bag. Fair. I got 2 words as well. What the fuck?
Good. Yeah. I think maybe we should have looked up the definition for that to kind of...
For what?
No, I just because like there are some characters in that in the like the voice acting talent that makes sense to me, and I think that like Charlie Day got it perfect.
Yes,
Charlie Day got it perfect, and I think Jack Black got it perfect.
Black, I think he's the best.
Yeah,
definitely the best one.
Because like obviously, if you go too cartoony with it, like if you went full on Nintendo, like actually how those characters sound, it would be too much. So you kind of have to find a middle ground of something that's like you can actually sit through an hour and a half movie and listen to.
Like a Jack Black, Charlie Day performance in a Sony Illumination Studios Mario movie.
Well, like, because if the entire time, we're watching this movie, Luigi's just like, oh yeah, then that would be too much. But
oh yeah,
oh yeah,
oh yeah, oh yeah,
oh yeah.
Luigi time.
but then you can go the complete other way and just be like, oh, I'm just gonna use my normal speaking voice.
What if they had gotten John Leguizamo back for Luigi?
Oh,
do you think that
the
would have been better?
Original movie.
Yeah, do you remember?
I remember it vaguely, but it's been so long.
I feel like I watched it enough times
to have like a
throughout
strong
my
memory.
adolescence. Yes, he was pretty fucking. Him and Bob Hoskins, perfect. They were the perfect live action. Like I know that movie's. I'm not saying that movie's great.
I feel like we should have an episode where we watch that movie and we talk about it because I don't like I have like it's almost like a fever dream, the memories I have of that movie.
Dude,
so it's just like
that makes me excited for you to watch it.
So I'm like I don't.
The plan for this show is just to try to cover a movie an episode, specifically one that one of us hasn't seen. So today's topic, Jesse, you had seen the movie, right?
I have. Wait,
yeah, but yes, I hadn't.
So. No. We both watched it with fresh eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, I had. But
you had. Oh, you had never seen it.
I had never seen it. Oh,
okay.
I was just curious about it because it was like one of Jason Bateman's first things.
Right. We'll get into it. So yeah, the idea behind the show is for at least one or more of us to go into every episode watching a new movie, or I guess watching an older movie with fresher eyes, but we'll try to keep it towards things we hadn't seen previously.
At least one of us.
At least one of us. Yeah. For a while, unless we were like, I don't know, because there's some movies that I've seen that I don't know if you've seen, but I definitely want to talk about. Like one that's been on my mind lately is The Matrix. Have you seen The Matrix trilogy?
I have never finished The Matrix. I started.
What?
I started The Matrix, but I did not finish it.
Oh my god! All right, perfect. All right, cool. I was worried. I was like, man, we've seen The Matrix. Because who hasn't seen The Matrix? You're uncultured as fuck.
Yeah,
if you haven't seen The Matrix, dude.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Matrix episode. Old school Mario Brothers episode. That movie is a fever. Both those movies are kind of a fever dream in their own regard, but on two totally different ends of the fever dream spectrum.
What is interesting though is I was listening to a podcast with one of the guys from Run the Jewels LP. He has like a podcast where him and his wife watch movies, and then like you hear the movies in the podcast. So like you actually,
like, are they actively?
They're like live watching it while they're recording, and so you hear them commenting.
Oh, so it's more like a kind of like a commentary.
It's a commentary, yeah.
Okay.
And you're just hearing the movie, so I guess the idea, and they do like iconic films, so it's like if most people are probably familiar with these films, so if they hear the film, then they kind of already have an idea of what's going on. But he was talking about how during that time there was like 3 different movies with the same simulation concept that were made like
like around the Matrix
era? It was like within the same couple years, all these movies were made. It was just The Matrix was one of the ones that
it was the one.
It was the one that got the most popular. But that idea had been floating around and kind of around the same time. So there was several movies that were made.
That tends to happen. Do you notice that a lot when like, and what usually tends to be the case is there'll be like a big or a bigger release for a movie that comes out at the same time as another movie or around the same time that are basically the same concept. Like I remember Madagascar when that came out. There's another movie. It was another 3D animated movie about African zoo animals escaping the zoo. What was that? Something in New York. Do you remember that? Do you know what I'm talking about? It wasn't as good, so that's probably why you might not remember.
Were they escaping?
Yes, because
they escaped in New York.
Yes.
And were running around New York, right?
Yes.
Okay.
One of them was a giraffe as well. I'm pretty sure, and it didn't look as good as I remember the art style not being as keen on it as the art style for Madagascar.
Look up Madagascar copy and see if you don't just like find it straight away.
Sure. And then another example I was gonna say, Madagascar movie copy, and then another example was The Wild.
The Wild.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
Let's look at these images. And a lion.
Yeah.
See, I remember the giraffe and a lion. And a koala.
Wow.
Gross.
It looks
like
bad.
It's like
too real.
Too uncanny valley.
It's like a little creepy.
A little. Look at these eyes.
Yeah.
Madagascar is a great film.
No, but for real though, the musical is actually pretty.
Madagascar the musical.
Madagascar the musical.
Never heard of it.
It might only be like a kids show. I think it might be like a junior musical, you know. But it's actually really enjoyable.
Disgusting. Madagascar 2 is an even greater film. God, I fucking love that movie. I was gonna say another example of this kind of thing is I remember Gerard Butler and Jamie Foxx, either together or not at all, was oh god, White House Down.
Oh, okay.
White House Down, and then what was the other? Olympus Has Fallen.
Right.
I couldn't tell you which one had Gerard Butler and which one didn't, because they were the exact same fucking movie. I remember watching one and then.
But I think that was actually purposeful though. That was like Olympus Has Fallen was like a sequel.
No, they're not related.
They're not related?
No.
You sure?
Yes, because there was White House Down and then there was Olympus Has Fallen. They were two totally. It's like separate casts.
It was the Capitol and then Buckingham Palace, right?
No, Olympus Has Fallen was about the White House, and then they made a sequel to that one, that was just called London Has Fallen.
London Has Fallen. Oh, okay.
So that's what I was thinking of. Yeah. Yep. You fucking uncultured swine. We barely talked about the Mario trailer, but.
But my point was with that trailer is that I feel like Charlie Day with Luigi and Jack Black with Bowser really found the balance of
what it should
be for a movie, for a full-length feature film, and Anya Joy Taylor for Peach, way too real, and same with Chris, just way too like real actual human. Is very strange.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've heard Donkey Kong talk, have we?
I guess not. I don't think so. I rewatched it before you got here.
I don't think we've heard.
I don't think he says anything. But yeah, when Peach opens her mouth and you just hear Anya Taylor-Joy's just regular voice, I was just like,
it sounds almost deeper than her regular voice. Like she went an octave lower.
Chris Pratt sounds great though, right?
Oh yeah, love that guy.
Sick dude. All right.
No, but have you tried watching like the different languages?
No, not at all.
Okay, so there are. I can't remember. I think it was like the Brazilian one. Is like sounds really good.
Oh,
like all the characters sound really good. Like all of the Marios in pretty much every other language sound better than Chris Pratt.
So Chris Pratt learned every language that this film is going to be released
and
in,
then
he
nails every single one.
Incredible.
No, but they're like in each language. There's like one voice that I'm like, oh, that doesn't really fit.
Oh,
So
that's how it always is.
Just for English, it's just like it just happens to be the main.
I've watched a lot of Spanish cartoons, and I've watched Spanish dubs of American cartoons, having spent some time in Mexico in my youth days. And I think it's kind of always like that, where it's just like, I know what Tommy Pickles sounds like in English, and this is not it.
What does Tommy Pickles sound like in Spanish?
I mean, I couldn't tell you, right? I'm not gonna I don't have an impersonation. I don't have an impression like ready to go or anything. But you just have to take my word on this one. It's like what you're saying. It's different. Mm-hmm. You're like, I don't know about this, dude. Moving on. I showed you a trailer for I think this trailer dropped 5 days ago. 65, starring Adam Driver.
Yes.
And I showed you right before I hit record. What did you think?
So to clarify, that is essentially like the origins of mankind on Earth.
You think you think that's what they're going for? You think it's like humankind was like we're not originated here? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
But then does that mean that
we're all aliens?
No.
We're all descendants of Adam Driver.
We're all descendants of Adam Driver.
That's the Adam.
Adam.
Adam. We're all descendants.
And there's a V in there too, so maybe somebody just got like confused. He's like, my name is Adam Driver, and then he's like, oh,
they're like, write this down. We didn't catch his last name.
He's married to was it Dreve? Eve? Oh, it must be Eve. He's married to Eve. That's who that is. He said Adam Eve, I think.
Adam Eve.
At first I thought he said Adam Driver, but he said Adam and Eve. I think
he said Adam and
Adam Driver. Adam Eve. Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve. It has to be that. That's what he meant.
Adam and Eve, or
he's not from here.
Or
he's not from here, but I think that's what he meant.
From around here. He fought dinosaurs with guns from Halo. Great. This movie looks like what Jurassic World 3, Jurassic World, the last one, should have been.
I have not actually seen that movie yet.
Oh,
but
shit.
I have heard bad things though. Have not like.
Did you say bad things?
Like not so great things. Yeah.
It's got good entertaining parts. Like sequences and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is what I think you go to see a Jurassic Park / Jurassic World film for, is for. Besides the first one, but the stories are always kind of just like, okay, whatever.
I like the story of the first and second one a lot. But I love this.
I didn't love the second one.
You didn't love the second
Lost
one?
World.
I thought it was cool to see Jeff Goldblum act like a normal human in a movie.
Nah, see, that's where I was like, that's where it fell off for me. I think, 'cause I was like, this isn't the same character from the first movie. Not completely.
He was pretty normal in the first movie. And the only time he did like his manners, like his classic Jeff Goldblum mannerisms, when he was the life will find a way, and he's like doing the drops on her hand to like show her like how no matter what, if you always have the same
on Ellie Sadler, but what wasn't he like touching her hand and
he was like, totally hitting her.
Water droplets on the back of your hand. I'm Jeff Goldblum. That's my Jeff Goldblum.
It's a good one.
Thanks.
But I felt like the first two had some good.
Oh yeah, for sure. The first movie,
and then the third one had great spectacle.
Yeah, I like the third one. I don't know what you just did, but try not to do that again because it came through pretty hard. But you hit something. But I know the third one gets Jurassic Park 3 gets shit on a lot, but I genuinely really like that movie, and
I think it has the best dinosaur fucking...
Consequently, I
think it's consequently.
I think I'm right. I think it's consequentiously.
Okay.
Consequentiously, the Spinosaurus is my favorite dinosaur, probably because of that movie, but also
But you know, it turns out he's probably a fish, right?
That's even cooler. I know there's been like scientific.
But we did see him in the water.
Yeah, I know.
We did see him in the water, and you know what? He's probably the one because you never see which dinosaur killed the men in the boat at the beginning. It was probably this Spinosaurus. It was probably swimming in the water and just ate them.
I think that's implied. Yeah.
You think that's implied? You think I'm just not realizing what everyone else knew?
What everyone already knew. I think you're having some realizations a little late. Better late than never. What were we talking about? This 65.
Yeah.
It's off track. I like how we're trying to talk about trailers. Absolutely skip the trailer. Just talk about other movies. 65.
Yeah, so fuck that movie.
Do you think it'll be good? Do you think it looks good? Do you think it looks interesting?
I think it looks interesting, and I think it'll be
like the twist will be that this was.
Because it says 60 million. I don't even feel like it's a twist. I feel like that's like.
Or do you think it's like a clone Earth that happens to be stuck in the Jurassic period that is visited by future humans?
So like what they may be.
So because they said there's something alien out there. I'm Adam Driver.
But he said it's called 65 million years ago, so that implies we're on Earth 65 million years ago.
I think there's gonna be some kind of twist that's like
that's something else.
Maybe it's not Earth, or like maybe it is, and it's a time travel story.
Maybe they were just trying to. Well, no, because okay.
Maybe Adam Driver is the dinosaurs
He's
the
the
whole
dinosaur.
time.
Yeah.
The dinosaurs are. Maybe it's an I Am Legend scenario where what we're led to believe are the antagonists are actually the so-called heroes of their own story the entire time. You know what I'm saying? Remember I Am Legend? You seen that one?
Mm-hmm.
Where the vampires, the zombie things? They're vampires.
Yeah, vampires.
They're definitely vampires.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people call them zombies.
Because they're intelligent.
Yeah.
To a degree.
The movie
fucks
up that story because they're intelligent. It makes them just mindless monsters in the end. It hints at their intelligence.
No. I think it doesn't hint at it. I think it shows very clearly that he was protecting his wife. The vampire was protecting his wife.
Yeah.
And then they made a deal, essentially. Because he handed her back to them, and they didn't attack him.
And then he grenades himself at the end.
Yeah,
are you talking about the book?
He's the one that.
Are you talking about the alternate?
No.
Because in the book, they're revealed to be intelligent. In the movie with Will Smith, it hints at it, but then in the end, they're like.
Does he hands back their person?
But they did film an alternate ending that is more reflective of the book.
And is it he hands back the person and then they go about their separate ways?
Yes.
And so then there's kind of like
I could be totally wrong.
A more peaceful. I know that there was some kind of alternate ending.
But in the original film theatrical version, he's trapped in that room and he's like, I'm Will Smith. There's only one thing to do, y'all. And he fucking lights up a grenade and blows up himself and all the zombies. Look at me.
Look at you. You fucking bigoted piece of shit.
You live long enough to see yourself become the villain of your own story. But yeah, he blows himself up along with all the vampires. And
but they have to be mindless, as if they weren't, then they wouldn't have started attacking mankind the way they did.
Well, think about this. Maybe they just aren't able to communicate in the same way that
here's what I will say though.
Like a different culture.
Here's what.
So are you saying that?
That's the name of the film.
Oh! Are you saying that? Nah, I probably shouldn't say that. Go ahead.
Okay. So on the DVD that I had, there was these little cartoons that were like they were like comic strips essentially, and they had like music with them, and they were essentially like just like different stories from different parts of the world of similar things that happened. And there was one of them where it was in I can't remember, I think it was like Indonesia or something. It might have been India actually. And this father had like this underground bunker set up, and he was like telling his oldest daughter, he's like, don't go out, because if you go out, we'll have to leave you outside. And then so she's like, oh, well, don't tell me what to do. And she goes to see her boyfriend, and then she comes back, and
I know what you're talking about.
you know what I'm talking about, and it's like close. And then you see her go back and find her man again, and they're both like,
but they're
both vampires.
Yeah.
But neither of them think they are.
Oh, yeah, dude,
and then they break
bro.
into her family's vault, and they just see monsters.
Dude,
they see monsters.
I remember that cartoon. Those are
their perception is that humans are the ones that have changed,
as per the theme of the film.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's like they are mindless to some degree because they think that we're the monsters, but that doesn't make them moral, void of intelligent creatures.
Right. That's just. I'm just. I'm surprised that I remembered that because I spent the first half of whatever you were saying being like, what the fuck is he talking about?
And it all just came back.
But it all came back, like core memory unlocked. I think I had the DVD too because I remember watching those little short kind of vignettes, animated vignettes. They were kind of like like animated comic kind of.
Yeah. It was like they were clearly drawn or something, and then they
like storyboard.
But like the images behind them would kind of move.
Yeah, that kind of parallax kind of. Nice. We need to move on. We're 30 minutes in, and we're still talking about trailers. So quickly, I guess just to kind of tie us into the topic for today, Teen Wolf the movie trailer #1. This dropped 2 weeks ago, and this ties into our topic for today, which the movie we're discussing is Teen Wolf 2. That's TOO. Every time I looked it up, I typed out TWO. TOO would pop up, and I'd be like,
"Why did? Is this
something else?"
Why did they do that?
Because he's a Teen Wolf too. He's a Teen
Wolf.
He's
also a Teen.
He's
Wolf.
Also. They should have just called.
He's not the. There's more. There's more than one Teen Wolf.
Also a Teen Wolf. Also.
Teen Wolf.
That's what it should have been called. Teen Wolf as well. Are you?
Teen Wolf, nevertheless.
But wait, there's more. Teen Wolf is what it should have been called. But yeah, so like I said, we've been trying to get this podcast together for fucking ever, and last week we were on the precipice of being ready for the first time to actually be able to record. And I came to you and I said, we need a topic for our first episode, and you suggested Teen Wolf 2. So me and Ray sat down and watched Teen Wolf 2.
You're welcome.
I can never forgive you for this. We'll get into it. But I think it was right after I opened up YouTube and there's a trailer for Teen Wolf the movie, and I was like, no way. And I wondered if you suggested Teen Wolf 2, which I now know is not the case, but I wondered if you had suggested it because the trailer had just dropped for the movie. And here's part of how and why I'm so uncultured is because I didn't know this was based on a show, because I didn't know the show existed.
Oh, you didn't know this new movie?
No, I don't know. I'm not a werewolf dude.
I mean, I think it's
or a Teen Wolf stan.
It's kind of like a soap opera. I would say it's like a soap opera.
It looks like a Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's like, and it's
like
interesting.
Your supernaturals.
It's interesting because Teen Wolf was meant to be a comedy.
yeah, that's what I was under the impression.
And then they've made it into this
dramatic
preteen drama
kind
of thing going on.
So I didn't know the show existed, and I was like, well, a movie based on, under my own presumption that the 80s movie,
right?
A new modern movie, and I watched it, and my first thought, I was like, well, this looks like the Vampire Diaries type, your CW, supernatural type of show, and now it makes sense because I was ready to rail on this trailer and just kick it. I was ready to give this trailer a kicking, because it looked like a show. But now that I know that it's based off of a show, that makes a lot more sense. But also, looks pretty terrible anyway.
Yep. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. You said you watched the show? Because I never did.
I watched, I think, like the first and second season. That was a long time ago.
Pretty good?
It was okay. It was something to watch.
Cool.
Yeah, but, I mean, clearly it got boring because I quit watching it.
So something else that I think is going to kind of become, I guess, kind of more apparent as we go through this show is that you watch a lot more shows than I do.
Oh, okay.
For sure. I'm fucking awful about watching shows.
I love shows.
And you are always talking to me about shows and texting me and telling me about you're watching an episode of this or you're into whatever series you're into at the time. And I'm like, cool. And I just don't watch shows, or you'll tell me to get into a show, or just anyone will tell me to get into shows. And it's not that I don't watch shows. I'm just... it's a lot of commitment.
If it's not a Star Wars or a Marvel show, you're not,
kinda. That's
you're
where I'm
probably
at.
not going to be watching it for a while. I was surprised that you watched The Rehearsal, actually.
Well, yeah. It when you first because it's Nathan,
Fielder.
whatever his name is,
Mm-hmm.
Nathan. You know,
Nathan Fielder.
Yeah, Nathan Fielder, and I had already liked him, but because you had shown me Nathan For You.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're the one who showed me Nathan For You, and I've watched this show like 3 times.
Oh yeah,
because it's so fucking good. But when you first suggested it to me, I was really... It took some convincing. Maybe not so much on your part, but you told me about it, and I was like, yeah, another show. Sounds cool. Great. Gonna put this one on the list, I guess, the backlog. And but then I think you showed me a clip, and I was sold.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking great. And so, yeah, that's why I ended up watching The Rehearsal, because I guess if I'm going to watch a show, I have to have something that is an immediate draw for me. Like a strong and
you
immediate...
don't want a slow moving...
Not necessarily. I don't know.
So would you say you don't like slow moving character driven stories?
Well, no, I wouldn't even say that.
Do you like that if it's a movie, but not so much if it's a show?
I love a slow burn in a movie.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite movies are kind of slow burns. Another show that kind of falls into the slow... What people said it was slow to start was Andor. Have you seen? Because I haven't finished.
I would agree it's slow.
It's a slow burn.
I think there was like, you ever try watching those shows and you just kind of can't seem to like stop scrolling on your phone
the whole time.
Do you ever have that?
Kind of.
Do you ever have that? Because that's kind of.
I had that with a movie recently.
And it's not always. It's not. It's sometimes it's just my fault, right? I'm just not paying attention.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, 2 episodes have gone by. I guess I'm gonna stop watching it because I'm not paying attention.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll probably eventually go back to it, but that's kind of just where I'm at.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll do that in a movie. I guess would be my case. A recent example is Teen Wolf 2. We'll get into that. But yeah, no. What was I saying? Andor is a slow burn, but I fucking love that.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was great. I only watched the first 6 episodes, and I stopped because I wanted to watch the whole thing, but with Ray, because I wanted to show Ray. And I had watched the first 6 episodes on my own, and then I was like, well, I want to watch this with her together. So I stopped, so I definitely plan on going back to it. I just haven't gotten around to it, and that's my thing with shows, is I just have to get around to it. Because there's plenty of shows I would love to watch. A big one is I've never seen Breaking Bad.
Oh shit, man!
Yeah, I know I'm like,
and then if you watch Breaking Bad, you can get into Better Call Saul, which in my opinion is
I've heard is
way better. I mean, it's different, of course.
And Breaking Bad, people say Breaking Bad is one of the best television series.
One of the best, and I feel like Better Call Saul is
even better than that.
Even better than that.
Even
just
better than
storytelling wise, yeah.
Well, that just doesn't sound possible. So
it's so good.
Clearly,
and then there's also a movie that's fantastic.
El Camino?
El Camino.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, see, I know about this, and I know I need to get into them and watch them and be caught up, but I'm just too uncultured, Jesse.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah.
If I had a soundboard that was like a
Bottom. Bottom.
So that's where I'm at with shows. But we need to talk about Teen Wolf.
Okay, wait.
We're getting into this.
Before we do that, though, speaking of Andor, you probably haven't seen this part yet, but there's a point where, and I just saw this on social media.
You better not spoil nothing, brother.
I don't think it's a spoiler
carefully,
because I don't know who the character is that says it or whatever. But there's a character that says, "Fight the Empire." At a point.
Is it?
What's
his name? Skarsgård.
The
Bill Skar. Is this Bill Skarsgård?
I don't think it. I think it was a. I think it was a lady who says it.
Oh, Mon Mothma's character.
I don't know. But originally the writers of the show wanted it to be "fuck the Empire." Disney, of course, not let that happen.
Cowards.
That's kind of how I feel, because I think that would have been cool. But obviously, sorry.
You're good.
But obviously, they want kids to be able to watch Star Wars.
Fuck.
Which I think it's interesting. I'm like, it makes me wonder, was Star Wars always viewed as a kids show?
I think so. Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, it's definitely made kid friendly on purpose.
So, well, I mean, like even before the Disney days, right? Like with George Lucas making Star Wars.
George Lucas was 100% even. I
making
think even more so
than
the Disney era. I guess specifically in regards to like Rogue One and Andor, I would say it's the most
like adult.
Like not necessarily not kid friendly, but more adult oriented Star Wars.
Sure. Yeah, because Rogue One has some heavy stuff going on. I feel like, I mean, suicide and whatnot, martyrdom.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty heavy.
But yeah, because George Lucas was always a huge Disney fan. Like Jar Jar Binks is based off of Goofy. If you weren't aware.
No, it
makes sense, right?
That does make sense. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, so it was definitely
he's just
always like a kid's
so he's okay. That makes sense. I think it would be weird to hear it. Like if you heard it in the Star Wars movie, you'd be like,
heard what?
Would it kind of take you out of it? Like if you heard the word "fuck" in a Star Wars property,
I guess it wouldn't take me out. I think I'd just be so there for it.
I would be there for it too, but I do think it would. What you don't want in stories is or like when you're watching TV or a movie,
it's something that doesn't fit in that universe.
So something doesn't fit, and then like you wake up and realize you're sitting in a theater or in your couch. You know what I mean? Like I got you. You want to be completely. So maybe in that sense, it would be a mistake.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I guess that I don't think that would happen for me. I think if somebody if I was watching a Star Wars property and somebody said, "Fuck the Empire," I'd be like, "Hell yeah!" That, like, yes, chef's kiss, fucking perfection. We need to get into this, bro.
Okay. So Teen Wolf 2.
Teen Wolf 2
is a movie that I
would love to keep talking about Star Wars, but yeah, we need to get into this.
So I knew obviously about the Teen Wolf with Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've never watched it. I've never watched the Michael J. Fox version.
Same. I knew about that.
I knew about it. And I have had, of course, watched this soap opera show when I was younger.
Right.
And I listened to a podcast called Smartless. You might know of it.
Smartless. With
Jason Bateman and Will Arnett and Sean Hayes. And they always joke, make fun of Jason Bateman for being in Teen Wolf 2, and so I'm like, okay, that makes me curious because he's a great actor, and
we were talking about Smartless kind of like in the weeks leading
and so I was like, okay, let's watch Jason Bateman's Teen Wolf 2,
his debut film.
Is that his debut?
Yeah,
you looked it up.
Pretty sure I have a list.
I know it was like a big deal because he was like kind of paying the bills.
Jason Bateman's film debut. Yep. Even though his father was already, I think, like a director or a producer or something.
His dad was involved with that film too.
Yeah.
And plus his parents were like his managers.
Yeah. Because they were already in like the Hollywood machine.
But I knew it was gonna be bad.
Okay, so I didn't.
Okay. You thought I was advising like an enjoyable movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought you were being serious. I was like, let's do a show, let's do a podcast, let's talk about movies. We need a movie to talk about. And you said Teen Wolf 2. And I said, and I understood why, because we were both listening to Smartless at the same time,
Yeah.
and they brought it up, and so I was like, okay, cool, sounds good. That's a fair. Me and Ray will make a date out of it. We sat down, watched it. Ray tapped out in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We were 30 minutes in, and she was like, I don't want to watch this. And I was... I said same, but I have to.
Well, did you I mean, like, I kind of get enjoyment out of bad movies sometimes. Like, you don't just sit there and kind of enjoy it. So yeah. I was having a good time, even though I knew it was, like, everything about this movie.
I guess I wasn't having a great time, but yeah, I could make fun of it and kind of have fun with myself.
Sure.
Like me and Ray making fun of it, but I guess it's not as enjoyable if I know. I don't know, because when it comes to movies, and if they're bad, unless they're like just hilariously bad, which this wasn't.
There was some moments that
I'm not. Yeah, it had.
It's like the frog fight.
I hated that.
You hated that? I thought that was hilarious.
I thought this was so stupid.
Because it was like the dumbest thing that, like, who wrote this down on
There's
paper?
one or two jokes, and I couldn't even tell you what they were. They got like a solid chuckle out of me. That I was like, okay, that's genuinely. But other than that, everything else just kind of made me facepalm. And I could see, I could see if like the frog fight being something that you could laugh at. But for me, because here's why I wasn't there for it. This is supposed to be college. They're in college.
Yeah.
These are college students, and you and I have both been in college.
Dissecting a frog.
Why the fuck are they having a frog fight like they're in middle school?
Yeah.
Like, and that was a running theme throughout this entire movie for me is dudes like shoving each other into lockers and the pranks and like the dean being just the strange. Like, I think he was the strangest written character.
Both the coach and the dean.
And I was like, this is high school. This is like freshman, sophomore level high school.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be in college, and so I couldn't buy into them being college, like a college age students, and then the coaches and the dean, and I was like, this is 8th grade.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was very strange, unless the 80s were
maybe
maybe
everyone was immature back then. Maybe we just grew up in a more mature environment.
Maybe it was a poorly written film.
It was a poorly written film. and it was so funny. I think it was like everything that they were trying to do, like you could see what they're trying to do, right? Like with these sequences.
Yeah, to an extent.
But it was just like they failed at every turn. Like I think what was so funny to me is like the whole idea is that, you know, he becomes a werewolf and then he becomes popular and now he's a jerk. But he was a jerk the whole time. He was like not a nice kid.
Would you say one thing they did get right is that this is pretty on par with Jason Bateman's characters in general? Kind of a rude, kind of inline,
smart ass. Yeah, smart
of.
ass, know it all. Yeah, that is true. I think he's kind of just, you know, maybe like that. I don't know. I think he's like that probably.
Maybe. Which is fine because he makes good movies.
Yeah.
Besides this one.
Besides, yeah. It was just funny to me because like because you know how I can't remember what it was that like sent him over the edge, but there was like maybe 4 or 5 things that you see him going through. Like you see him, he has this roommate who stuffed all his shit in a closet.
Yeah.
And then he has this this athletic scholarship when he's not an athlete whatsoever, so he doesn't know how he got this scholarship. And
it's because Michael J. Fox is his cousin.
Is that what it was?
Is
that that's who they were referencing?
Yeah, because it's supposed to. And you know what I noticed is I looked up. I was looking at a picture somewhere. I don't know if I'll be able to pull one up here, but it says you know, this movie is a sequel to Michael J. Fox's Teen Wolf, which is supposedly like way better. I've never seen it. I wouldn't know. And but young Jason Bateman 100% looks like he could be young Michael J. Fox's relative.
Well, and that's why they chose him, I'm sure.
And I think that, it makes sense why they cast him. But there's a picture of Michael J. Fox. I guess I could.
You want to see the picture of.
You want to see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
This is Teen Wolf. Not two. Teen Wolf only.
Teen Wolf 1.
I gotta put Michael J. Fox, don't I? Here, this picture right here.
Okay, I've seen that picture. Yeah. Yeah, he looks like.
It looks like Jason Bateman.
Yeah, for sure.
Or Jason Bateman could be his cousin. So cool, good casting on that part, I guess. Is that the end of the list for good things about this movie?
Probably. You know, and but anyways, what I was saying was there's all these things that were piling up, and then he's like in the library with this girl that he kind of likes.
Yeah, I did want to talk about that scene.
But kind of likes, and then blows up on her. Like, I'm like, dude, this isn't even that big. These aren't big problems. Like, these aren't problems that you should blow up on this stranger for.
Yeah. So
like,
with that scene, he blows up on her for no fucking reason, for little to no reason, and she just kind of sits there and takes it, and he is like having a little pity party by himself, and he I guess he walks outside the library and is sitting on the steps, and she walks up after just having been, and maybe the 80s were a different time. I don't know. Maybe in the 80s you got girls by yelling at them, and then they were just, that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
Right? That makes sense?
They wanted, yeah.
Totally.
To be yelled at.
Yeah, and she goes out there and is just like, hey, and starts flirting with him, and I was like, what? I was like, what? This guy just got done fucking yelling at you, and you show up, you chase him him out the door, and then you start trying to be friendly with him. Like, what? Why are you friends? Or why are you trying to be friendly with this guy after the scene?
That. Like,
I would a little bitch fit in the library.
And this was like the second time that he met her,
had ever seen her, right?
And then at that point, like, if I had that interaction, I'd be like, well, I'm not talking to that person. I'm avoiding that person.
I would avoid the library.
Yeah,
forever.
Like, I don't want to. I'm scared to go to the library because I might see that douchebag. And then, but for some reason, she's attracted to him, and I don't know. It just, the movie obviously is bad writing, but like they just didn't do a good job of creating like a decent human being. And then he just becomes a jerk. It's like, okay, he was always a jerk. He just is now popular, so he's a bigger jerk. And you know, when he gets popular, he's like with these other women and not with her at all.
Not caring about her. Yeah.
And they're not even spending time together. And then at the very end of the movie, he has to like make up steady for this test that he missed.
Yeah,
and then
isn't
he's
it
up
like a
all
montage?
night. It's a montage where he's up all night studying with this girl who he's been an asshole to the whole movie.
So I'm not gonna lie, real quick. I fast forward through that part.
Oh, okay.
Because
there's lots of montages.
I wanted to be done with the movie, so starting around the halfway mark, if there was a montage, I just fast forward because I was like, I get it.
There's three different montages. There's a montage which is him training, having a shitty time. Having a shitty time.
Okay.
And then blowing up on the girl in the library, and then becoming a werewolf, and
training for the
boxing, but also being super popular.
Yeah.
And then also an asshole, because remember he gets like a car from the dean.
Yeah.
The dean, and then he's like trying to run this person over on a bike. Like, that's how big of an asshole he is.
Insane.
He's trying to hit someone on a bike.
Okay, that was one of the few scenes that was one of the scenes that I laughed at, because I guess it was trying to be funny, but
you're like, this person's a psycho.
Yeah, and I think Ray had stepped out, and for that scene, I rewinded it so that she could see, because he chases this guy on a bike, and I guess they did a good job at making it comical, because the guy was being a clown on the bike. He was doing a really good job.
He's like, whoa.
And then he crashes. He like dives into some bushes, and let me tell you, I just had a great laugh.
Yeah,
at that scene in particular. But also at the same time, what the fuck is Jason Bateman's character doing? Like, why would you do that?
Like, that's some very unhinged behavior. Like, he needs to maybe go to jail or something.
Yeah, or get
fined at the
call
very
a pound.
yeah, call him pound and get him some
Have him
shots.
tranquilized.
Yeah, cut his balls off.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, and then he spends one night with this girl studying, and then he tells her,
and then they're in love.
He tells her he loves her.
Oh yeah.
He tells her he loves her, and I was like, did their relationship just not warrant that? And then she's all about it. I'm like, this is clearly a toxic relationship, because she only wants him because he's been an asshole to her, and this is the first time that he's showing her any kind of
friendly behavior.
And she's like, oh, I'm in love with him.
I love you too.
He's really a sweetheart. And I'm like, no, this guy sucks.
Maybe she sucks too.
Maybe she does.
For being into that kind of personality and promoting that kind of behavior.
Yeah.
In viewers from the 80s.
So it's her. Yeah. Fuck her for.
Yeah, it's her fault.
She shouldn't.
Jason Bateman.
What kind of example is she setting for the young women out there?
Jason Bateman off the hook.
Yeah, he's good. He's not that bad.
The girl, yeah, he's a teen wolf. So
I mean, she did start the frog fight. She did start that.
What's her character's name? Emily. Is it Rachel Sharp that plays that? I'm just looking at
probably the second
cast list here.
Unless it's
not this person.
I think it is Kim Darby. No,
she's the professor that is, spoilers, also a wolf.
Also a wolf. And she has a tail, but no one else
does.
So only girl wolves have tails.
Is that the case? Is she the only girl wolf?
She's the only girl wolf you see in the movie.
I was wondering if there's some kind of like, because I had that thought when she turns around and walks away, and there's like the clearly clipped on fake tail just sticking out of her chest.
As opposed to a real tail.
I just say the prop looks bad. And she walks away, and I was like, no, I mean, I haven't seen the first movie, so I can't say for sure, but I looked it up, and she's the only one with a tail in the entire series.
Oh, really?
But at the time of watching it, I was like, oh, she gets a tail because she's a lady wolf, or just...
Or do the guys have tails? We just never see them without shorts?
Because we never look at them from behind.
Maybe they have short tails, and they can keep them in their undies.
Or because they don't wear dresses, they're wearing pants.
So it's tucked down the leg.
Down the leg.
Down the leg. That's what they do. And they don't. You know, I think that's the problem with this series. You know, if they're going to showcase the people that go through these things, they really need to get down to the nitty gritty and of the issues that these wolves experience.
Speaking of showcasing, and what was the other word you say? Change?
What?
I don't know. What I wanted to get at was you never see him transform.
Oh, it's just it jumps to it.
It just cuts. He's sweating. It'll be Jason Bateman sweating, and maybe they put like that red filter over his eyes, that effect, and then I don't know if the mic picked that up, but I was getting a spam call. But yeah, it'll be Jason Bateman sweating, and then his head kind of looking real mushy with that
mushy.
Kind of, that
yeah, because he gets like a
prosthetic.
He gets like a like it's almost like a you know how like babies move in the womb and you can see it move. It's like that, but on his forehead.
He's got
a little baby in his
kicking in his skull. Kicking behind his forehead, right? Like, could you imagine the headaches? Like their eyes just getting kicked. If you had a baby, like if your womb was just located in your skull, your frontal fucking cortex or whatever, your lobe.
You have like you know how you have like those knee things, or like those like fucking when you break a leg, but you still can stand and just wheel around, and you just like
a cast.
Not like a cast, like it's
a brace.
No, it's like one of those things that you just you pick your leg up and you're walking, but it has wheels, and you just have your leg on the
like a walker, like that maybe a senior citizen would use.
No, I think it's usually used for like.
Oh, it's like a scooter that you kneel on.
Yeah, you kneel on it and then you scoot.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's like that, but you have it for your head, for your head bump.
I was wondering where you were going with this. I already forgot you were talking about that.
So you take your big pregnant head bump and you put it on there and wheel it around.
The the knee
Because
scooter.
otherwise you fall over.
Right, for balance.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, it's so much easier to have a center of balance when it's in your center. I mean, imagine having a baby in your head.
Yeah. So Jason Bateman sweats, shows signs of skull pregnancy, and then the camera cuts away and cuts back, and he's just full wolf. And they did the same thing for his uncle, I believe.
The uncle and the lady.
And the lady,
yeah.
as the lady wolf teacher, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just cuts away, and he's just magically a wolf, which would be fine if we see, like, I get it.
Like if we did it like at least once.
Yeah, if we saw it one time, like if we saw the full transformation, like
I mean, I think there was moments.
Like if they used claymation to get the effect or whatever 80s film technology, whatever special effects they had back then, if they had just made the transformation happen once,
I think it did happen in that first fight. I think you started to see his ears pop, and then fangs.
But do you see it happen on screen? Like, do you see ears grow, or does it cut away?
Yeah, it cuts
ears?
away, and he has each prop, so you just add it like one at a time or something.
It's no good.
Yeah. No, I agree. They're trying to save money for sure.
And this film suffers for it. If there's any more points,
if you took that away, it wouldn't be so bad.
It probably wouldn't be sitting at a 3.8 on IMDb. It'd probably be 3.9.
3.9. It might make it there. It might make it to. You think it could make it to 4?
If we saw one transformation, I would say it deserves a 4 instead of the 3.8. It's sitting at. It has. I don't have it pulled up, but I did see this earlier. Is that it has an 8% on Rotten Tomatoes audience?
Oh wow! Yeah,
pretty solid numbers.
I would.
That's what you want.
I would totally agree with that number. That's what it should have.
8%. You don't think that's being a little generous?
8%.
Out of
I think
100%.
I think it deserves it. I think I'll give it to him.
Solid. Yeah,
I'll give it up.
4% for the bicycle chase scene, and then 4% more for for giving us young Jason Bateman, and nothing else.
Just young Jason Bateman.
He holds up half that score. The unbearable weight. An 8% on Rotten Tomatoes. There's one more scene I wanted to talk about.
Was it when he starts singing and dancing and everything? After that?
I totally forgot. I blocked that out of my memory. Awful.
And then okay, here's the problem with her. I had a problem with her in that scene, I remember, because she was so mad at him for singing and dancing and having a good time.
That was my hand.
and I'm like, he made a fart noise in his hand.
I can do it again. You know, sometimes you'll hear like a fart noise and somebody be like, "It was the chair," and then they can't recreate it. That's my hands. Sorry,
job.
Continue.
No, it was like she saw him celebrating that he won a boxing match and is now a wolf and he's like having a good time, and she was like mad about it. Like I understand.
But also, wasn't he kind of like rubbing it in her face?
I don't think
was it that scene where he's like partying and having a good time, and she walks by and he's got his arms around like two of the like the two party girls or whatever.
Right.
Kind of, like,
but it's not like they're exclusive. You know, like
that too.
So it's just weird to me that she was.
But had they hinted at like any kind of there might be some romantic kind of connection or tension?
I think they had some kind of connection because they're like, oh hey, we both like science. That was pretty much it. Like we both enjoy.
Okay, that's barely a friendship.
Yeah. It's like that's like a colleague. That's a colleague right there. Like you're like, oh hey, we might be able to have some conversations in class
when we see each other for the 40 minutes to an hour a day. Yeah, or not even. It's probably not even every day. Yeah, probably every day at school.
Yeah, so I mean, very weird
because it's middle school and not college.
It's just it's impressive how these characters were not developed properly at all.
Speaking of properly undeveloped characters, improperly undeveloped.
Properly underdeveloped.
Properly underdeveloped.
Properly
characters.
undeveloped.
I want to talk about Dean Dunn.
Dean Dunn.
His character. Did you know the guy that plays Dean Dunn? This is off the top of the dome. Are you ready for this? Played Gomez Adams in the 1960s.
Oh shit!
Adams Family show.
He did. Holy shit! Yeah.
And it's not because I read it.
You just
moments before we hit
you just
record.
looking at him, or
no, I looked it up.
Okay.
I clicked on it. John Astin is the actor.
And he is that Sean Astin's dad?
Fucking maybe.
I think that might be his dad. Or maybe they're related.
Potentially, I'll see if I can see.
I would just look up Sean Astin, and you can probably find
his character. Terrifying.
It's
the scariest fucking guy. He's the scariest fucking part of this entire movie. There's a scene where Jason Bateman, because it's not college and it's actually middle school, is like digging around in his locker or something, or he's just got his back to the rest of, like, he's in a hallway and he's facing the wall. I'm pretty sure it's because he's digging through his locker. I don't know. I blocked out most of this film from my memory, but it's the camera's looking at his back, and you see a character approach him from behind, kind of like over the shoulder, and you don't see who it is until this character, this figure reaches out and taps him on the shoulder, and Jason Bateman turns around, and it just cuts to like a close-up, kind of almost like a jump scare of John Astin's face looking insane. He's got this wide-eyed look, and his teeth, you can see all of his teeth because he's like grinning, teeth exposed. You can see, despite the film quality of the time, you can see this man's pores. And I screamed audibly. I was sitting next to Ray. We were watching this movie, and that scene, and I just and I showed his face. He's a terrifying man, and also deeply troubled because of his insane obsession with what was he obsessed with?
He's obsessed with just
the wrestling team.
Well, I assume he's obsessed with getting some kind of
recognition,
bonus, or maybe it is legacy. So he's looking.
I suppose that could be a solid motivation.
Because you get some kind of bonus if your team wins, and you make more money,
right?
For your sports, right? And it's like, oh, now we're gonna get more money put into the sports program, and also I get this nice little bonus, and my name is attached to this team. So it's like legacy and money probably is what I assumed his motivation.
That makes sense. I guess he is just so insane. His approach. Oh, yeah, so the motivations check out, but the approach, the method,
it's too much. It's scary.
It's way too. It's terrifying.
He's like threatening these students.
I cannot believe I cannot believe he's held a job as a dean for however long. He would have been reported, right? Like if we were doing it in the 80s, right?
I mean, do people
maybe get away with?
I feel like in the 80s, you don't have you don't have the weight, right? Because if you report something like that, if you report things like to the powers that be, you typically have to
get overlooked, or
you get overlooked because you typically have to have like some kind. You'd have to have like the money to get a lawyer, right? And actually go the. What's the word? What's the phrase I'm looking for? You go
the distance. The
distance. You have to go the distance with that, And the only reason why today I think that those things actually get listened to is because of social media, which they didn't have. So
right.
I kind of don't think that anything would happen.
But we are in agreement
that he should get reported.
That he's a terrifying creep.
He was definitely a creep
of a man, and does not deserve to hold the title of dean.
Absolutely.
At the school. All right, cool. Anything else, character story-wise, you wanted to touch upon?
I mean, no. I know.
So something I was thinking of for our show here is we're going to be talking about a movie, an episode. We need a rating system, I think.
Okay.
We don't have to necessarily come up with.
Maybe we do stars now, and then we come up with.
Well, I was thinking, wolves.
Wolves. So from now on, we just go.
How would you rate this on a scale from baby-faced Jason Bateman to wolfed out Jason Bateman? How many wolfed out Jason Batemans would you give this movie?
Out of what?
I don't make the rules here. I just need an answer.
Is there? I give it a. I'd give it a 2 wolves.
2 wolves.
Yeah.
I can't believe you just rated this. You just gave it the most prestigious rating possible.
When it goes from 0.1
to 2.
To 2.
I give it 1 massive pile of dog shit.
Wolf shit.
One massive pile of wolf shit out of 2 wolves, the most prestigious rating you could give a film in the 80s starring a young Jason Bateman. I wanted to talk about some kind of, I guess, some trivia, some behind the scenes stuff. I was thinking maybe we could do this for a lot of movies because who doesn't love trivia? And also IMDb lists continuity errors, which is something else I love in a film, especially when I can pick up on it before.
Did you pick up on it?
No, because I honestly was not giving this movie my full attention. But any excuse to kick it more, I'm here for that. There's a couple here. They aren't really anything crazy or wild, but so in the filming, it says here when Todd, which is Jason Bateman's character, in case you forgot, we haven't.
Yeah, no.
Besides Dean Dunn, I don't remember anyone's name.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either. Yeah,
it's Jason.
I remember it being Todd Howard was his name, but
okay. See, yeah. If you had said his name, I would be. If you had said Todd Howard from the beginning,
you would just think
I would have had to ask
the Bethesda guy,
right? When Todd first gets into his uncle's van, the entire crew is viewable in the van as it pulls away. The camera lights are also visible.
Oh wow!
Good stuff.
They just didn't fix that.
Or they didn't notice, or didn't give it the attention because they gave it about as much attention as they knew the viewer would also be giving it. You know, the same level of energy went into making it as they knew they would be getting from their viewers. Most likely is what I'm chalking it up to. And this happens a couple times. After Todd leaves the dorm room to change his subjects, the reflection of the floodlights on the ceiling are visible on Stiles' glasses. So you can see lights in Stiles. This is his homeboy, right? His roommate? The guy?
Yeah.
And again, there's another scene with a van. They're walking back to the van from the dorm. The reflection of the boom mic operator is clearly seen in the polished van as he moves along with the actors. So that's cool. They should have credited that guy with an acting role since he's since he's in the film. And this is my favorite one. There's a lot more, but they aren't that crazy. But my favorite one that stands out is it says right here, for a Colorado college, there sure are a lot of palm trees shown. Which I might have missed it, but I wasn't even aware that this was in Colorado.
I didn't know either. Yeah, that's probably why I wouldn't. So what probably made this film suffer, because apparently the first one's pretty good. Remains to be seen. What's the rating on the first one? For the first one?
Let me look that up real quick. But it says Michael J. Fox did not return to reprise his role because basically makeup. He didn't want to sit through the makeup. 6.1.
Oh, that's funny.
So
6.1.
It's definitely
so it's
higher,
definitely much better.
Almost double that of the first one. Michael J. Fox did not refusal to reprise his role in the sequel. He said he had no desire to go through the arduous process of getting into makeup to play the werewolf, which is fair, I guess. If
he must have been making
enough money.
Making enough money to
be like,
turn
nah,
that shit down.
I'll get there. Like, hey, you want to come back and be the wolf again, Michael J. Fox, in our sequel, Teen Wolf again as well?
I think Styles is in the first one though, right?
I think it's hinted at, but
because it kind of seems like, or maybe it's a different actor, but I think it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be the same.
Because it says here that the actor James Hampton, who plays the uncle, and Mark Holton, who plays Chubby, were the only actors to reprise their roles from Teen Wolf 1.
Oh, okay.
So, do you think they were desperate for a paycheck? Or do you think they didn't realize? Do you think they signed up for something they didn't know what they were getting into?
I mean, sometimes actors just have a hard time saying no.
In the 80s?
I don't know. I don't.
The last piece of trivia here, it says Sally Murphy's debut. Pretty interesting.
Sally Murphy,
big fan?
Old Sally Murphy. Old Sally. Old Sal.
The Sal.
Oh, Sal.
The Salmeister.
Is a Sal.
We know her.
I call her up and I say, "Hey, Salmeister."
Oh, you know her personally.
It has the yeah. We talk all the time.
You go way back.
It has the movie.
As far back as Teen Wolf 2, would you say?
No, because I wasn't around yet. I wasn't kicking it down in the streets.
You weren't kicking foreheads from in utero.
Right.
In forehead utero.
I wasn't even implanted yet.
I guess we'll look at.
I think I'm done talking about this movie.
Okay, I'm not. I have two more things to say.
I feel like it's time.
I have two more things to say, and then we can 100% be done. According to Stuart Fratkin, which I believe is one of the writers, the original cut contained more jokes and originality.
Huh. What is that?
Do you think that would have helped?
I don't know. Like maybe he.
Did you feel there wasn't enough originality?
I feel like originality.
What?
Where? I feel like the writing was it was probably cut because it wasn't good. It was probably even worse than what we saw.
Agreed. And the last thing I wanted to say here is Alyssa Milano, I don't know who that is, was scheduled to do a third film about a teen wolf girl playing football in high school, but the poor performance of this film and Air Bud canceled those plans. So I could see.
Oh, Air Bud took over, right?
Is that what it's?
Is it saying that the success of Air Bud made?
Well, the way it's worded, it says the poor performance from this film and Air Bud, as if Air Bud did poorly as well, right? Canceled those plans. I googled it because I was like, an Air Bud movie in the 80s. I googled it. The first one came out in the 90s, so I don't know what this is talking about.
Well, maybe the Teen Wolf girl wasn't supposed to happen until the 90s, like that.
I suppose so. I guess I could see that making sense. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. It says, and Air Bud. And I have it pulled up here. Air Bud, 1997. So that's
we could have had Wolf Girl, Teen Wolf Girl. If it wasn't for Teen
Wolf but Girl would have been the third.
Teen Wolf but Girl.
Teen Wolf : but Girl. that would have
sell some tickets.
So that's Teen Wolf 2. Overall,
wouldn't recommend.
Would not recommend. Shit film. And also, I was mad at you for recommending this to me because I thought it would have been enjoyable because I trusted your recommendation, and then I watched it and I thought you were memeing on me. You were pulling my leg there, playing a prank on me, and I was like, I watched it and I said, why the fuck did you recommend this, Jesse? You doomed me.
I just thought it would be interesting to talk about a movie that I doubt any of our listeners have seen.
And now they know.
Now they know.
And now they are that much more cultured.
As for the show,
I wanted to talk about music, but we spent way too long on everything else, and we are over an hour now, we're at an hour 18. So I think that's a fair episode, and I have to get ready for work soon. So I think we're going to call it there. Any closing thoughts or sentiments that you would like to share with our viewership? Our expansive, as of yet unrecruited cult.
I just want to say, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
May the Lord bless you
and keep you.
Dear Lord, let us pray. Dear Lord, baby Jesus.
Dear Lord, baby boy.
Dear baby, the sweetest baby boy.
The sweetest baby boy.
You may be a sweet baby boy, but there can only be one leader.
We will feed you to Moo.
We will feed you to Moo. She is our true
It will
overlord.
be tonight. Prepare yourself. Baby
yourself.
boy Jesus.
So that sweet baby boy and his sweet baby head from which
sweet Virgin Mary's sweet baby
sweet
baby skull forehead,
from which he was birthed.
From which you were birthed.
And that's why. And that is the reason for this season.
The Merry season.
That's why we say Merry Christmas, because of Mary, the Virgin Mary.
Mary.
Christmas.
Mary. Christ.
Christ.
More. We
Christ
want more
more.
of Christ. So
Or do we miss? Or do we just miss him? So
Mary Chris Uno Mas.
Uno Mas. Mary. Hey Mary. Hey Mary Christ. Is that your last name, Mary Christ? Uno Mas. Uno Mas, please.
Uno Mas. She just.
Why don't you just go ahead and?
So this was at like a Chipotle or Burger King, and then he was like, "Oh, are you Mary Christ? You're Mary Christ?"
And she's like, "Yeah,
Uno Mas."
Oh, she says Uno Mas.
She says Uno Mas because she wants another burger.
And the employee says no. We the people want Uno Mas baby Jesus.
We want
sweet baby
Mas
boy.
baby Jesus.
Uno Mas baby boy.
Uno Mas baby boy.
And she says, no. No Mas. We get Moo instead. She's our cult leader. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, Earth, beyond. Thank you so much for tuning in to our very first episode of the Uncultured Cult. I've been your host, Dash.
And I've been the co-host, Jesse.
Jesse, the co-host, the unbelievably attractive, well-mannered, scholarly yet uncultured. You've been a great co-host. Thank you so much for coming out. I just wanted to quickly thank Ray for putting up with my bullshit for months, talking about podcasts and talking about how I want to start a podcast. She may or may not ever listen to this. Who knows? You for coming out, because I know I bugged the shit out of you to come do this with me. But we're here when we did it. And anyone who's listening, if this is your first time, or if you are listening from the future and you've gotten a couple episodes in and you're like, what do they sound like at the very beginning? Well, this is it. This one's for you, brothers and sisters of the cult. I want to have a badass sign off, but I don't have one ready yet. I want to say something like, join the cult.
Get in here.
Get in.
Get in. It's warm.
Join the cult.
It's warm and spicy.
We got cheesecake.
And celery. Peanut butter. Raisins, celery, peanut butter, raisin.
Do you think we'll ever get sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends?
I don't think so.
Okay, fair. All right, this has gone on long enough. Thank you so much for listening. We are the Uncultured Cult.
Peace.
Get cultured.
Get with it.
Get with it or
Get
out.
Get with it or get out.
Get out.
Yeah.